Today we're looking at section 2-3 in our textbook. The topic is interpreting line graphs. So by the end of this presentation, you should be able to look at a line graph and help interpret what it means. Before we begin, I want to look at some old information, I guess. I'm going to write some numbers on the board. 3, 6, 9, 12. What number do you predict will come next? I predict that a 15 will come next. Why? Because we see that each term is going up by 3. Every single time, we're increasing by 3. Let's look at another one. 2, 5, 8, 12, 13. What number do you predict would come next? Or can you predict which numbers will come next? Well, if I'm looking at the data, all I can tell is that our numbers are increasing, but there's no pattern. This is plus 3, plus 3, plus 4, then plus 1. So using this particular data, it's hard to predict what's going to come next. We'll make a connection to this in just a moment. All right, so the first thing we want to do, we have this chart, and it's money won by Daytona 500 winners from the years 1988 to 2005. It's a little bit of a confusing chart, which is why I pulled it up. I want you to be able to see that chart data, first of all, is not as easy to analyze as graphed data, but also to kind of see different ways that charts might be laid out in the future. So here we have the different years. We have a category of years here. This is from 88 to 93. This next column is 94 to 99. And the next column is 2000 to 05. You'll see charts like this as a way to basically conserve space. So we wanted to make that graph a certain size, so we went ahead and we broke it into columns like that. It's perfectly acceptable. Okay, so if we're just looking at the data and we look at the numbers that correlate with each year, really we can see a little bit of a pattern. I can see that it's increasing. And then I see something kind of weird happened here between 97 and 98. We went from having a $300,000 winning, almost $400,000, to having $1 million. Okay, so something interesting happened in the Daytona 500 here between 97 and 98. Extra credit for anybody who could tell me what it is. Okay, anyways, so we need to create a line graph to display this data. Well, the good news is I've already created one for you. All right, so here's the line graph that is showing the data that we just looked at on the money awarded to Daytona 500 winners. Again, we're looking at the years of 1988 to 2005. This graph's really good at telling us what we're looking at. Here is the money that was awarded. They could have rewritten this and put it in thousands or in hundred thousands, and this would be like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. But they went ahead and wanted to show all the zeros. It makes it a little bit easier maybe to analyze. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So it's kind of flat. This is 1988. I'm sorry, the text is a little hard to read. So we're going from 88 to about 96, and it's pretty consistent. It doesn't have like a huge deviation, but it starts to really jump up here in 1995, I think is what that one is. So in 95, the winnings really start to increase. And then here, that was 98. Yeah, this is 97, and this next one is 98. And that's where that big, huge jump happens. This is something we want to know. We want to know what happened to the Daytona 500 between 1997 and 1998 to increase those winnings so much. I mean, a jump from, almost 400,000 to over $1 million. That's a big jump. That's a $600,000 jump. Okay, so these are some things that you look at a line graph and you start to ask yourself anytime you're analyzing data. Then we have kind of a consistent climb afterwards. There's a little bit of a flattening out. But, if we were to kind of sketch in from 1998 to here, we could do, it's called a best fit line. That's what this yellow line is. And that's an estimation that we can make predictions off of. So using this chart, we could predict that in 2009, the winner would have made about 1.65 million. Okay, and if you can find me that data, extra credit. All right, let's go on. So making predictions. Line graphs reflect changes in a set of data over time, which we saw just a minute ago with the Daytona 500 graph. Using visual estimation, we can predict what may happen in the future. For example, here we have this graph. These are skateboard sales at Sportsco. This is a nice graph. We've got titles, we've got labels, we've got our years right here. So here at Skateboard Sports, 2001 we sold about 110, maybe 120,000 skateboards. I'm sorry, yeah, 110 or 120 skateboards. 2002 it went up to 150, then it goes up to about 160 or 70. Back now in 04 it goes up to 200, and it just keeps on going this way. So what does this graph immediately tell you about the popularity of skateboarding? Okay, well, what I would say is probably that skateboarding is becoming more popular. Okay, part 2 says how many skateboards might be sold in 2006. So I come here to 2006. Whoops, I think that should probably say 2007 because we already have the 6 data. Okay, so if we were to extend this graph up in 2007, we would probably sell about 275-ish, right between 250 and 300, and it's almost right in the middle. So I'd say probably 275 boards in 2007. So you see how we can just extend this line. We can extend the regular line up to create a little bit of a trend line, what we can see there. And then we can make our predictions from that point. Okay, now it's time for you to try. So we have a graph here of factory sales of VCRs. And this graph shows the factory sales of VCRs from 1997 to 2003. So the actual graphed data is from 97 to 2003. First, predict the amount of factory sales for 2004. And then describe how the popularity of VCRs have changed since 1997. Pause it, answer the questions, and then you can move on and I'll have the key. Okay, so we have our You Try key. Our solutions are right here. In 2004, we're going to have sell 100 million VCRs. And they have become less popular. I wonder why. Go ahead and write yourself a summary. And then rate yourself. How good are you at analyzing data and making predictions using line graphs? If you have a chance with your folks in the next couple days, go ahead and search through the newspaper, see if you can find some line graphs and see what kind of predictions and what kind of analysis you can make. Bring those in to me. We can share them with the class.